I was lying in bed the other night doing what most people do, endlessly scrolling YouTube looking for something to watch to fall asleep to. And eventually I landed on a video of a Counter-Strike Majors VOD.
Are you ready?
It was a 3-hour uncut past live stream of a major Counter-Strike esports event, and I stayed awake watching the whole thing.
Versus Rops. Excuse me?
While I sat there and watched it, the only thing I was thinking about the whole time was how much more entertaining it was compared to sim racing esports. I know most people who watch my videos love sim racing, but go watch this VOD and compare that VOD to this. Yeah. This is the latest iRacing eNASCAR event held on a tiny stage at a tiny venue in front of a tiny crowd. The production and most other aspects of this event are pretty lackluster in comparison to most other esports, which kind of sucks considering sim racing is literally the esport version of the most intense and impressive sport in the entire world. But with how much I love sim racing, just like most of the people watching this, it had me thinking, why is the iRacing pro scene so dull? Have they even tried to make it better? Is there anything that even can make it better? And if there is a solution, why haven't they already fixed it? Okay, this is where it gets pretty complicated. For starters, not only just sim racing, but motorsport as a whole is a very niche sport. If you were to ask any non-motorsport fan what they know about motorsport, I can guarantee they would probably say, Leclerc! Leclerc! Or they would say,
And those cars are going real fast and real left, son!
But that's all they would know. They would know nothing about any of the hundreds of other series that motorsport has to offer, like IMSA, WEC, European Le Mans, Asian Le Mans, any GT series, and then on top of that, the fact that there is a whole separate world of virtual motorsport. If we compare Counter-Strike's tens of millions of players to iRacing's measly 300,000 total subscriptions, you can kind of get an idea for one of the main reasons we shouldn't even be comparing the two pro scenes. The root of the problem comes down to the player base itself. According to a very reliable source, around 75% of viewers of any given esport watch because they play that same game as well. And I'm sure when it comes to iRacing, that percentage is going to be way higher. I mean, just think, we already have a real-life competitive sport that iRacing and all of sim racing is based off of. So why would people even be inclined to watch sim racing esport when they can just go watch real life motorsport? Unless they drive the sim themselves. If outsiders of the sim that don't know much about racing were to stumble across an iRacing esport broadcast, it would most likely be too complicated for them to understand what's actually going on. So they'd probably just be staring at their screen wondering how people could be entertained by cars driving around in circles. Even for sim racers themselves, if they watch a pro race, yeah, they would know how it works, but unless they did some investigation work, it's very difficult to know anything past that. There isn't that much widespread knowledge on who any of the drivers are, so in order to actually get the full story of what they're watching, they have to dive way too deep to figure anything out, and most people don't want to have to do that. For Counter-Strike, the game itself is very simple to understand. You literally just point gun at head and shoot head. This makes it easy for outsiders to watch without any previous knowledge of how the game actually works, leaving room for people to understand the drama and storylines instead of having to understand the gameplay itself. Racing as a whole is plagued with this exact problem. There's so much complication with how the sport works that it takes much more effort to actually understand storylines. Formula 1 fixed this problem perfectly with Drive to Survive by making a series about all of the drama in the sport, albeit it was probably a little bit over-exaggerated.
Congratulations.
Well, change your car. You've got a problem. Change your fucking car.
Then you change your car because Checo has been saying the car is fucked and your driver has been going out.
Speak to my drivers.
And for us racing fans that were there watching F1 before the Drive to Survive fans, love it or hate it, it completely opened up a new way to get more of an audience. It simplifies the process of understanding the sport's storyline. Basically, what F1 did is make it so instead of wasting all of your energy trying to climb over the wall of understanding, they just made a hole in it so you can climb right through. I'm not saying sim racing esports should do the same thing, even though it probably wouldn't be a terrible idea. I'm just trying to clarify that in order to grow this sport, you need to simplify. There's more to it than just that though. iRacing can simplify in whatever way they want, but in order to hold those new viewers that climb through the wall of understanding, you need to keep them entertained. Counter-Strike does this in multiple ways, but the most noticeable way is their production. I mean, just look at some of these clips of their events. It tops even some actual sports venues, and this is all literally just for a video game. CS also runs their stakes higher. Their typical $1 million prize pool makes tension go through the roof, not only for the players, but for the people watching as well. So when a team wins, everyone just goes wild.
With 10 fingers, both hands, a major semi-final in the palm of it, and Perfecto accepts his fate. They did it! They're going to the semi-finals! Furia able to beat back against the best, and I don't even know if you can hear me right now, so let's just take it in.
Now, it's not really fair to compare these aspects with iRacing. I don't know iRacing's budget for their esport department, but even if they had the money to support this, it wouldn't even pay out for them. There just isn't enough viewership for it to be worth spending potentially millions of dollars. They would need bigger sponsors to fund that, but you need a bigger audience for sponsors to make it worth it for them as well. So it's kind of just a feedback loop of issues that prevent iRacing from being a tier 1 esport. In order for it to move up a tier, one of these aspects within the feedback loop has to improve so it can carry the rest up with it. iRacing has made some pretty big steps in recent years to build themselves up though. They've secured partnerships with several real-world racing series and brands like NASCAR, F4, Porsche, IMSA, and plenty more. They've even been aired on live TV broadcasts during the COVID pandemic, pulling hundreds of thousands of live viewers, even sometimes millions, in the start of the eNASCAR series, replacing real-life motorsport during lockdown. Unfortunately, this didn't really translate into any long-term viewership though, most likely because once regular racing started back up again, everyone just went right back to watching that instead. But since then, iRacing subscriptions have more than doubled, steadily climbing to where they are today. iRacing has done a lot to try to grow their pro scene. I mean, going on TV is one of the best things that you could do. There are many ways that I've already mentioned that they could probably grow it more, and there is an unlimited amount of ways that I probably haven't even mentioned. But growth isn't always the answer. Sim racing and racing in general is unique. It's one of those few things that not a lot of people know about, but the people that do know about it are die-hard fans of it. I stayed awake that night watching that Counter-Strike VOD, jealous of the hype and excitement the Counter-Strike scene has. But in hindsight, the thing Counter-Strike does way worse than iRacing is complexity. People who are able to bond over something as complicated and deep as sim racing are way closer and connected. The community iRacing has may be small, and the pro scene might be even smaller, but the community built around sim racing can't be beat. Not even by a bunch of Counter-Strike fans jumping around with their shirts off. No, for real though, iRacing, please make a sim racing Drive to Survive.